3 years ago, I bought my Surron Lite BX for £4,695. And since then, there has been numerous bikes added onto the market to compete with the Surron Lite BX. And in this box, I think we've got one of the best competitors for the Surron Lite BX out of the box when it comes to value for money. This is the 79BIKE Falcon Pro. This bike basically comes with all of the upgrades that you wish that the Surron Lite BX came with. So we're going to get this box open and see what the Falcon Pro comes along with, get the bike built, and then take this bike for a shred. Let's get into it. So the 79BIKE is now pretty much all unpackaged and unboxed, just a few things left to do, but we've got the 19-inch wheel ready to install next to us. We've also got the front mudguard packaged up here, which we're going to have to put on when installing the front wheel. We do get 2 other boxes included with the 79BIKE, and we're going to take a look first at the charger. So already I am loving this charger because it has got a handle built into it, and this is actually a 10 amp charger, which is going to charge this battery pretty quickly. There's also this little box included in with the charger. I have no idea what this is. Oh, okay. 79 is deciding to drip us out with what looks like a 79 necklace. I guess that's a pretty cool thing to add along to the bike, adding a bit of bling. And then lastly, we've got the 79BIKE accessory box. Take a quick look at what comes inside here. We've got the faceplate for the Falcon bike along with a load of zip ties. Looks like we get a little Allen tool set, presumably. Yes, we're going to get the hex keys inside that little pouch, which is really nice. 79BIKE has also included a 79BIKE key tag, which is awesome. I love putting a key tag on the keys of my Surrons and bikes. Just makes it easier to find them, harder to lose them. Then lastly, we've also got a 19 and 18 spanner. We've got the foot pegs for the 79BIKE too. And then of course, we've got a set of keys for the bike, and then just some reflectors added in the box as well. So my next plan of action is to get the battery out the bike and get the battery on charge so we can get that up to 100% ready to rip. Then we can start building the rest of the 79BIKE. Let's do it. The Falcon Pro is packed with things that doesn't come along on the stock Surron, and it's got a lot of great parts out of the box. So building this bike, I was really excited to actually see what was on here, and now we've seen it, I can get into telling you guys what we get on this bike. The brakes look like they're just a half decent mountain bike brake, similar to the other bikes in this category, and they're just looking a bit tidier and a bit cleaner, not as bulky as the Surron or the Talaria brakes, and they've got a bit nicer levers as well. But then a huge upgrade compared to any standard bike that I've seen on the market. This bike comes equipped with the FASTACE 2.0 forks. They got the £60 rated spring in them as well, which would be my exact choice if I was to buy these forks again. I did actually used to run these forks on my Surron Lite BX, so I'm very familiar with these forks and how they work. Then moving down to the front of the bike, and I guess in the rear, we've got 19-inch wheels with knobbly tyres on them. The tyres are quite skinny, and I don't really like seeing a 19-inch wheel on the back anymore. If anything, I prefer an 18-inch wheel on the back with a bit of a beefy tyre. But it does look like this tyre is already really close to the chain, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of wheels we can actually upgrade to in the future on this bike. To go along with the brakes, which are mineral oil brakes, there is the 203 stock rotors down at the bottom. Again, very similar to what you'd get on a standard Surron, so I guess we'll have to see how they perform over time on this bike too. Then moving to the centre of the bike, which is where we have the powertrain. This bike comes with a 72 volt 35 amp hour battery straight out of the box, so again the Surron Lite BXs, even the 2025 models, are still only coming 60 volt. All the other bikes in this sort of category have upgraded to that 72 volt range, so 72 volt is now pretty standard across the board. With it being a 35 amp hour battery, we should get some half decent range, but it's not going to be mega long range. I'm used to riding my 72 55 amp hour, which gets around 60 miles depending how you're riding, so it'll be interesting to see how many miles we get out of this battery too. We've got the controller at the front of the bike, which looks like a really nice neat controller and is also customizable via the display, and you can connect to the controller with an app, which it tells you to do when you start this bike up and get the bike set up ready to rip. Down at the centre of the bike, we have the motor. This motor is rated for 10,000 watts, so 10 kilowatts. I think the peak on this bike is actually 8.5 kilowatts. One of the coolest features about this motor is it does actually have the LED lights around the centre of the motor, so this is a feature I've not seen on any other bike so far. When you hit the throttle, the lights actually change, and then when you hit the brakes, the lights start to flash red to let other people know that you're braking, which is a kind of cool feature, I guess. You can also customize these and turn these off through the app. Then while we're in the center of the bike, just looking at the frame, swing arm and subframe in general, it's obvious this bike was based on a Surron Lite BX. This subframe is actually looking a lot stronger than the stock Surron one, far beefier in the places where it likes to bend, which is also good to see. And we also have the extra support bar across the frame in the center. The swing arm looks like a very different design to the Surron. It actually looks like a smaller design, yet it seems to be stiffer and actually not as flexible as the Surron. So down by the motor, we've got the foot pegs and the peg brackets along with a peg brace. So this bike does come stock with a peg brace, which is something that everybody ends up putting on their stock Surron as well. Disappointing to see that the foot pegs are still in this silver color. They're not an expensive upgrade, so we'll probably look at doing that in the future too. So for the rear shock and to accompany the FASTACE 2.0 forks, I was really pleased to see that the Falcon 79 actually comes with a RFLOXA rear shock. This doesn't look like the Pro version. It's only got the compression and rebound settings, but still we're saying that the fact it's got RFLOXA on out of the box is still really impressive. Underneath the seat, we've still got the rear tail light on this bike, but this tail light comes with more features than many of the other bikes that I've also seen. Even though this is an off-road bike, it still has the indicators in the back, and it also has a functioning brake light, so when I press the brake, it should light up too. Similar to the Surron Lite BX, the Falcon Pro is running a 420 chain with a 48 rear sprocket as well, which is exactly what comes on the Lite B. I guess the only way to see if this 79 Falcon Pro is as good as it actually looks out of the box, we've got to get on it, we've got to give it a ride and see how this bike performs in its full standard form. Let's go do it. So this is it. We're out here with the Falcon Pro by 79BIKE. Got the keys in my hand. I'm going to be using the NFC feature today, so just by tapping the key on the display, that should give us power. So to start, on the right hand side is where we have our ready button. Once we've pressed the ready button, we can see that the display has gone into eco. So on the left hand side, we've got an M button. M will put us into daily and then into sport. It looks like eco is running 1/3 of the power, daily is running 2/3 of the power, and sport looks like it's going to be all of the power that this bike can provide. Then we also have the headlight button again. If we hold that, the headlight turns on. The screen will then turn dark. I actually prefer the screen in this dark mode. It looks nicer than the white, but seems to only come on when the headlight is on. Press and hold that button again, the display will go back to usual and the light has gone off. There is also the high beam and low beam on the headlight too. We've got the horn button, decent horn. Then we have the left and the right buttons here, and what these do is actually puts the blinker on at the back. You can hear the noise that the display is making to signal that the blinker or the indicator is on. We can turn it off by pressing it again, and of course we've got left and right on the indicators, blinkers, whatever you want to call them. On the bottom side of the buttons there is a R button. When we press and hold the R button, this bike actually goes into reverse. Not only does it go into reverse, but you do get the indicators that flash as well, and if we hit the throttle, the bike will start to move backwards. Then in terms of other things we can do on this display, if you press and hold the M button for around 5 seconds, it will then take us into a menu. so we can turn the system unit from mile per hour to kilometers an hour. There's password settings, there's advanced settings, paramotor settings, e-mode settings, drive mode settings, so that's eco and daily or drive, whatever you call it. And then there is another page as well. We've got sport mode settings, so you can change all of that within the bike's display just with the buttons on the handlebars. One other cool feature is with the kickstand sensor. When you put the kickstand down, the bike actually goes into a park mode, and when you lift it back up, goes straight back into neutral. It also makes a bit of a cool sound when you put the stand down. But I guess with all that said, I think it's time that we actually rip this thing. So we're going straight into eco. Now, I've barely ridden this bike. I've given it a quick blip to make sure that the bike works, but I have not felt the power or anything of this thing. And there's sort of three things that I want to try and do today on this bike while it's still pretty fresh. And what I want to do is I want to test this bike for trails, seeing as it is an off-road bike and these bikes are known for being trail monsters. I want to test this bike for trails. The second test I want to do is top speed. We can't have a new bike and not be testing out the top speed on it. All right, boys. So we're also going to test the top speed on this bike, and then as well as the top speed, of course, we're going to have to try wheelie this bike. These bikes are known for being the wheelie masters with their geometry and how they're built. So we are hopefully going to be testing those three things. I'm just in eco and this thing is actually ripping so far. For eco, it's actually got a lot of torque. Obviously, the top speed's probably not going to be there in eco, but considering it's got pull and it's got torque, you could actually rip this bike in eco and still enjoy it, I think. This is flat out eco mode, up into the corner. It rips. It actually rips in eco. And I must say, already the suspension is working a treat. So with the suspension, I've set everything at a halfway mark. So the compression on the forks and on the rear shock is set dead in the middle. The rebound on the forks and on the rear shock is set dead in the middle as well. I like to do this so you can have a feel for the suspension at its midpoint and then you can work up or down from there. Yeah, this thing rips in eco. I still haven't even put it out of eco yet. Okay, let's do it. We're in drive mode now. Should see a bit of a speed increase. Doesn't feel much more torquey in daily. Just feels like there's a little bit of a power and a little bit of a speed increase. And this should be where the real magic happens. This should be the place where we can properly trail test this bike. And straight away we're into some openness. That suspension is soaking everything up. I'm so impressed with that already. Honestly, for the price range that this bike is in, which we will be talking about the price a bit later in this video, the things that this bike comes with out of the box is insane. And to be honest, it's mainly the suspension that is impressing me. It's the suspension that is putting the smile on my face the most. But this bike is truly packed with so many features. But before we get too into it, I just wanted to rip it and see what it's actually capable of. This is by no means smooth terrain and this thing is ripping. Still only in daily mode. Let's see if we can do this hill climb. Still only in daily mode. Full throttle. Oh, it eats it up. It is eating it. I've actually low-key missed the feeling of a stock bike too. Ripping around on a light but madly powerful bike makes such a difference. I love my light B, but it's not a light B anymore, it's a heavy B. So having the similar power on a bike like this, on a lighter stock bike like this, perfect. So I'm stuck in neutral. I'm gonna have to get used to that because I have no sensors on my RON. Everything is just, once it's on, the throttle's on. There's so many sensors on this, I'm gonna have to get used to it. But also, while I'm on the topic of sensors, this did have the brake sensors on when I got the bike. I actually went into the display via the buttons on the side and I turned the brake sensors off, so you can turn off most, if not all, of the sensors all through this display. But we're going to carry on shredding. I reckon we're going to try this down route straight into that hill climb opposite. We're back in daily mode. This will give the brakes a test. I didn't realise it went vertical there either. Oh, it eats it. It just eats it. I think it's safe to say this thing rips, but we wouldn't be doing it justice if we didn't put it into sport mode. So we're now up in the full power mode. This should be everything the bike has got. I'm excited to see how this thing rips. In fact, I've just spotted my first target. Again, absolutely no issues. taking on the natural whoops with no problems. We're still in sport mode as well. I think I'm actually going to go back into eco for the first rip. Make sure we don't give it too much throttle where we don't want it. And again, just to show you what eco can rip like, doesn't mean you have to be in the full power mode all the time with this sort of bike. They are still fun in lower power modes, just shredding. See how easy that was even in eco, it just eats it. Oh, it's so nimble as well. It reminds me exactly of my stock Surron, just with everything that it was missing. All the power that it needed from the get-go, the suspension it needed from the get-go. There's still things I would do to this bike personally, which I'm definitely going to go through once I've shredded this bike. But for a stand point and for a start point, 79 are doing well. Okay, I think we've got to try the same, but in daily. Let's rip it back through. A little bit more torque, a little bit more power. I'm going to go this way actually this time. I think I went the other way last time. Watching out for them tree stumps, because they are not my friends. This thing is ripping. Through the techier bits. Flat out power. Ripping. So just out of interest, we have got two temperatures up here on the side of the display. Looks like we've got a motor temperature and a controller temperature. Both are sitting at around 46 degrees right now, and I have been ripping. So this motor can definitely handle some speed, so can the controller as well. Plus, seeing this information on the screen like that is mega handy. Okay, we're going to put it in sport mode and show the boys how it's done. I can see them begging to see how the 79 bike performs. The guy's trying to send it on a quad bike. What a legend. Crazy, crazy guy. We'll just send this one straight up. Sport mode is no issue at all. And straight back down as well. Oh shit. Oh bruh. The front brake got me and we've stacked it. Oh no. Well, it's bound to happen at some point. But that's reminded me of an upgrade that they've done on this bike that I forgot to mention, and that is the direct stem, and that has kept the bars somewhat in line as well. Oh, I can't believe I stacked it on the first ride. The crash sensor put it back into neutral, which is actually pretty cool. So now I can just blip it back into eco, don't have to turn the bike off and on again. We're back at it. Gonna try find the other hill climb I wanted to try. I mean, that wasn't it, but I guess we might as well send it. No problem. It did send my foot off a little bit. Plus the bars are definitely a little bit out of line right now. Okay, no, too far, too far. Straight into sport mode again. This bike is getting the full works today. It's getting the hill climb treatment, it's getting the trail treatment, it's getting the drop treatment on its first ride. I'm sorry, bike. I like to keep these bikes as fresh as I can for as long as I can, and that was just not in the script. It was not planned. Gonna have to make up for it by ripping in sport mode now. Oh, some of these ruts can be lethal. It's a ripper though. I think we've proven its worth. Straight out of the box with this much power. It's all you need really. So I think it's safe to say that this bike absolutely dominated the trails. Off-road, this thing was insane amounts of fun. It just made for the best time on a stock bike. But before we get into testing the next couple of things that I wanted to try on this bike, there is some facts and figures that we need to go through, advertised on the 79 website. So to get started, the total weight of this bike is 130 pounds or 59 kilograms, which for a 72 volt bike is actually quite impressive. Of course, this bike is running 72 volt 35 amp hour battery. The battery has a charge time of 3.5 to 4 hours, paired up with the 10 amp charger that comes with the bike. Then of course we've got the motor in this bike, and the motor specs, like I think I've mentioned in this video, are rated up to 10 kilowatts, so 10,000 watts. It also packs a 410 newton meters of torque in this motor, so we're definitely not shy of a bit of acceleration, and it definitely shows. This is only in daily and the thing just takes off. So with the battery being a 35 amp hour battery and the motor specced out what it's specced out at, it says on the website that we will get a total range of around 70 miles, or if not 75 miles, but that is going to be in the lowest power mode. That is always in the eco setting. It just makes the bike brands look a bit better when they advertise the most range. So in eco mode, when you're taking your time, cruising like I'm cruising, you probably get around 65, 70 miles on a single charge. But if you're going to rip this bike around and basically actually ride the bike, use it for what it's meant for, you're probably going to look at around, I would say 40 to 45 miles. So far, the odometer is saying that I've done 7 miles, and it's saying that we're on 60%. Now, I don't actually believe the odometer, because I don't think this bike is calibrated, so I don't think it's counting the miles correctly. Plus, we were absolutely ripping at the trails. I was flat out on a lot of them, a lot of hill climbs, so we definitely sucked through a lot of that power. Then with all these factors combined, everybody always wants to know, how fast can it go? What is the top speed of this bike? This bike should be capable of reaching up to 56 mile an hour as advertised on the website, but that is also on the USA website. On the UK website, it says that this bike tops out at 36 mile an hour, I think, if not 30 mile an hour. I can tell you already, this bike is not limited to 30 mile an hour. It is way faster. So then, speaking of top speed, that is actually the next thing that I wanted to test on this 79BIKE Falcon Pro. We're back into eco mode. Let's rip, hit the throttle, see what we get. Now, I think eco tops out at 15.5 mile an hour. That's exactly what we're getting there. Showing like 1.3 kilowatts right now. So let's go up into daily or drive. We should see about 30 mile an hour in this mode, I think. It says we're pulling 8 kilowatts there. And we're topping out at about 30 mile an hour on the display anyway. Definitely feels like 30, if not a bit faster. And we definitely hit 30 mile an hour there too. So we got the GPS on the phone. This is going to give us the most accurate speed measurement, especially compared to the display, so we can compare the two and see what the true top speed is. We're at 55%. We're going to be in sport mode, so all I have to do is slide to start. That is now up and running. I'm going to put it in between my legs and hopefully don't press any buttons. Sport mode, safety check. Let's hit it. Full throttle. So it actually says on the screen we're pulling 10.6 kilowatts. So supposedly we are getting 10 kilowatts. At the minute it's saying 32 mile an hour. We're going way quicker than 32. 33 mile an hour. I'm flat out. I can't do any faster. We're on flat ground now. It's picking up. I have no idea what the speedo's saying, the GPS. And that's all we're gonna get. That was flat out. The bike was saying 32, 33 mile an hour. We were getting way more than that. The truth is going to be on the GPS. Yo, okay, so it's still going, but we can see there maximum speed of 50 mile an hour. So the Falcon bike was advertised 56 mile an hour on the USA website, 30 something mile an hour on the UK website. So to see that we hit 50 mile an hour on half battery as well, we're at 55%. That's good news. That means that this bike probably is pulling around the 56 mile per hour that is advertised. The speedo is definitely not calibrated right now. We need to look into getting that calibrated and seeing if we can match it up, because I hate the speedometers being out on these bikes. Plus, with the speedometer being out, we're probably not counting the miles correctly, so the fact it says we've done 8 miles to nearly 50%, I don't believe that. I think that's a false reading, so we're gonna have to get that calibrated. But at least we know, according to the display, we were pulling 10,000 watts, 10 kilowatts on this bike, and the top speed was 50 mile an hour, 6 mile an hour under the advertised 56. So I'm happy with that. So of course that leaves us with the last bit of testing we need to do on this bike. Is it a wheelie bike? Is this bike capable of popping up the front wheel? I think we know the answer in sport mode, so let's go back down to eco. Now, doing a wheelie on a Surron in eco mode, a stock Surron, is actually really hard. So to see if this has got the torque from the get-go in eco, which is capped out at 15 mile an hour, we got to see if it can do it. So we're going to start dead slow. Oh, okay. It wheelies in eco. It's not got the power to keep wheeling, but it got the wheel up. Let's do that one more time, just for good measures. We got to try daily now. We are slightly downhill, which makes it somewhat harder to get the wheel up, I guess, but normally uphill is easier. Woo! Okay, drive has got the power to wheelie, but it lacks that mid to top end power in daily drive mode, whatever we're calling it. Oh! Just as I say it, I nearly loop it. Need to get used to this throttle tune as well. So different to what I'm used to, but the throttle tune is there to wheelie, gets the wheel up and it holds it. But now we're going uphill. We can test that theory just a little bit more. Okay, it's got it. It's a little hard to balance when you're going slow too, so let's try sport mode. This should be the wheelie mode. Oh, already massive difference. See if we can get it up to balance point. Okay, just like the Surrons, this thing rips. It's a wheelie bike. Let's try a knee knock. Woo! Sketchy on that one, over the little hill, flat out. Yo, we had the bridge. We had the bridge. I was not expecting to do that on this bike. I guess because it's so light and so much power, it just kicked us over it. That's sick. I'm gassed. Uphill wheelie test. This is where it should shine. Sport mode is the one. Sport mode is where it's at. We had the bridge again. Oh, I'm so gassed that you can do that on this bike. That is so sick. Okay, it's definitely there. I just need to have a bit of practice on this bike. So the final question of this bike that I'm sure people are dying to know if they haven't already gone and looked at how much this bike is going to cost. But what is the asking price for the 79BIKE Falcon Pro? In the UK, this bike, brand new out the box, is going to cost you £4,200. I believe on the website right now it's £4,199. I don't know if that includes delivery or not, but when you compare that price to the stock price of a Surron Lightbeat even in 2025, when you look at the changes made to the bikes in comparison with each other, I would definitely have to agree that you are getting more bang for buck for the 79BIKE. And I am a Surron guy through and through. I started on a Surron. It has taken me time to come to adjust that companies are almost copying the Surron, making their own versions and almost claiming it as their own. But now I've been on one, now I've been on a Surron copy, and I've tried what it's like to get on a bike that is based on the thing that everybody loves and one of the most popular bikes on the scene right now. But all they've done is added their own twist to it, their own design. I've got to admit that you cannot beat it. I see why people go for other bikes than the Surrons now. And 72 volt is just standard across the board now. I've been waiting for Surron to bring out a 72 volt Lightbeat since I got my Lightbeat, and it just doesn't seem like they're willing to change and push up to that 72 voltage. Whereas all these other companies have looked at what people have said, have listened, they've tried the bikes, and they've agreed 72 volt is where it is at. With all these things being said, and although this bike has got basically everything it needs out of the box, there is not a lot that you would need to do to this bike. There is still things that I would want to change about this bike. I would like to see them ditch that bigger 19-inch rear wheel and go down to the 18-inch or even a 16-inch that people upgrade to, and put that bigger tyre on the back. Another couple of changes I would have liked to have seen out of the box on this bike is things like the faceplate and the foot pegs as well. In fact, that's probably going to be one of my first upgrades. And then I think the final change is actually the seat cover. I'd like to see them put a gripper seat cover on this seat out of the box. There are definitely a few things that I would definitely like to see Falcon change out of the box on this already incredible bike. Let's see how it handles when we give it a rip on the little trail. We've definitely been ripping stuff harder than this today, but we got to see how it copes. Some of these bumps are actually a bit more savage than at the tracks we were riding today. But this thing rips. Slowing down for the bridges. You always got to slow down for the bridges. So this is only the start of the 79BIKE Falcon Pro being on the channel. I'm excited to have a new bike on the channel. I want to give a massive thank you to 79 for sending out the Falcon Pro, and as usual, although they did send out the bike, they gave me full freedom to say what I wanted to say about the bike. And seeing as I'm now collaborating with 79BIKE, there should be a discount code, if not a link, in the description of this video down below. If you have liked seeing this bike on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, and don't forget to go down below in the description and take a look at the 79BIKE for yourself. With all that said and done, I'll see you in the next video. I'm Matt Francis signing out. Peace.